Recorder rolling, camera rolling, and 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Leadership Sketches, our weekly reality check on creative leadership. Every week in 5 minutes or less, I want to share ideas and best practices on creativity, leadership, and everything in between. This is our 10th sketch. And this little sketch actually concludes our first series on leadership sketches. And I want to leave you with an interesting thinking pattern that is related to other sketches, especially the frameworks that we saw and also the topic of procrastination. I want to introduce you this little part that is called thinking in quarters. What does it mean to think in quarters? I think that often we forget this is part of a workshop that we do on time management and also part of one of the frameworks that we discuss in our master classes. Time is a convention, right? So because we decided how to subdivide time. And the concept that I want to explore today is starting with the idea of thinking of the difference between what we define as tasks and what we define as projects, right? So what's the difference between something that we define as a task and what is a project? A task is a single action, it's something that we can begin and is a single idea. While project is anything that requires more than 3 tasks. So once we identify this distinction and once we embrace this idea that a project is anything that requires more than 3 tasks, we might see that everything or almost anything that we do becomes a project. Maybe it's a small project, maybe it's a larger project. When there is a due date, of course, that's even better because then we also have, we can say, a deadline for a specific project. But why this distinction is important? We saw in the procrastination sketch that task can become just an infinite list of things that we have to do. While projects, the interesting part of a project and what we should focus on is the progression, is how do we get to what I call done. Getting to done is the most important part because it gives us a sense of ownership of the things that we are doing. And here is the interesting part about this concept of thinking in quarters, right? So let me see if I can draw a table. I will start with this one like this and see. We can begin and say, okay, what if I can divide any project into quarters? So we have 4 quarters. What does it mean? It means that if we can take this perspective, we can see, let me see if I can do some lines here. We can break down our project into chunks. So the classic ones, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. Okay? So what happens? It happens that once we identify these little projects and these chunks of projects, we can break them down and we can see that the important part is that we progress through these projects. Sometimes we feel anxious because we don't get to understand throughout our day that we are actually progressing through these projects. And by breaking them down into smaller chunks, we can say, okay, what does it take for us to complete the 25% of this project? What does it take to conclude the 50% of the project? 75 and until we complete the project as a whole. And we can apply the same thinking, which is our time, right? Hours function the same way. We can divide them into 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and 60 minutes. that's dividing our hour in quarters. So what else we can do with this formula? The most interesting part, and this is one that I stole from an interesting American author called Gretchen Rubin. If we shift our perspective also towards our day, we could break down our day in the same fashion. So we can divide our day into quarters. We can call it morning, and we can call it midday, okay, afternoon, and evening. Why could be beneficial to do? We can say that sometimes we get distracted, sometimes some issues come along and we blow up our planning, and we can say, sometimes it happens to me all the time, that I say, today I wasn't really productive, today I couldn't make it, and I will get to it tomorrow. And in that sense, what we did is basically we blew up the entire day. But if we get accustomed of thinking in quarters, maybe we can just allocate specific quarter and specific projects like we did here to specific quarters of our day. And maybe you can also allocate different projects to different quarters, right? So if something happens, an emergency or something that you didn't plan, what happens is that you can scrap just one quarter and say, okay, I'll get on to the next quarter. So I know that I also have within my day 3 other quarters to complete whatever I want to complete. And if we blew up 2, okay, maybe we have 2 more. And okay, sometimes it will happen that even our day goes on. But if we train ourselves to try to break down our ideas, projects, and the most important part here, let me see if I can change the color, is we need to get to what I call done. No? So when we reach a state of done, even if we don't complete the project per se, and we know that we have larger projects, the important part is that we fixate, we give ourselves a specific time frame, and within that specific time frame, that quarter that I'm talking about, we can actually advance. And this gives us a sense of progression so that we know that we are advancing and we are moving forward. How are you progressing through your day, or how are you progressing through your project? Do you have any hacks that you want to share with us and with the community of creative leaders? That would be amazing. And as usual, I hope you enjoyed this sketch. I leave you with a small message, which is, as the 10th sketch, we are going to take a small pause for the summertime, and we are going to reevaluate all the sketches that we have done. Another interesting part is that we are opening the admissions for the September Masterclass in Creative Leadership, and we will leave all the link below. And as usual, I'm Gianluca Cinquepalmi, and until next sketch, don't forget to inspire, challenge, and disrupt.